Hi, my name is Noah Galvez Doucette from Ms. Sacramando's 5th period chemistry honors class, and today I'm going to be making some rock candy. For this project, I'll be using 4 mason jars, 8 clothespins, 4 skewer sticks, a 1 cup measuring cup, a bag of granulated sugar, yellow and red food coloring, and lemon and strawberry flavoring. To eliminate any background noise from this project, I'm going to be switching over to voiceovers over all the videos from now on. Now on the screen right now, you can see we're washing out the jars. This is step 1 of the recipe, and is just to ensure that the jars are clean and prepped for our rock candy. Now, while this is going on, my mom will be prepping the skewer sticks by first dipping them in water and then rolling them in sugar. This is to provide a latching point for all of the sugar crystals that will later form. We're going to set these aside to dry for now. Once that's complete, we can move on to the next step, which is to pour 2 cups of water into a pan and bring them to a boil. This is to ensure that all of the sugar is dissolved, and that's because more solute, like the sugar, can dissolve in a solvent at a higher temperature. Now, we add in our 6 cups of sugar. To help the sugar dissolve into the water, we use stirring, and this is because doing so encourages more collisions between the solute and solvent. After the 6 cups are added, the liquid turns a notable white, almost eggshelly color. Now, because we're making 2 different flavors and colors, we're going to separate them out into 2 pans evenly. When that's complete, we're going to add a few drops of both coloring and flavoring to both and stir them around a little bit just to ensure that they get really in there. When that's complete, you just leave it sit for 20 minutes. For this section, I decided to record a time lapse to show the changes over the 20 minutes. I'll leave that to play now. After those 20 minutes are passed, we're then going to go ahead and pour the liquid into the mason jars. For this section, I once again had my mom help me, as I am not the greatest at pouring hot things, but the idea is still the same. You could see we use 2 mason jars for the red, and here we use 2 mason jars as well for the yellow. After that, I'm just going to put the skewer sticks, which we previously put together, into the mason jars using clothespins. Now this wasn't the easiest thing, especially with the red, as the skewer sticks had a tendency to fall down, but eventually we managed to get them into both and basically hold them off each other. You could see here with the yellow, it's a fair bit easier, but not too much so. After all said and done, we decided to store these glasses for 3 days in my basement. This is because it was a perfectly cool space, and it likely would have contributed best to the growth of the rock candy. Next up, you'll see a time lapse of this rock candy's growth over 3 days, and unfortunately, it's clear that the red candy didn't grow quite as well as the yellow candy. Now this is likely to do with the fact that the jars that we used were simply too small to accommodate, but there was still a lot of crystal growth, especially on the yellow candies. Here's the time lapse. After that time lapse, it comes time to remove the sticks. As you can see in the footage, the red ones did not properly grow, and I believe, as I stated previously, that this is simply due to the volume of the containers that they were in. They were only 6 inches, not the recommended 12 inches, so a lot of the crystals stuck to the sides of the container. Still, the yellow ones seem to have grown very well. Taking a look at the insides of the container, it becomes very clear through the haze of the liquid that a lot of the substances did actually crystallize at the bottom of the container instead of on the sticks. This may have been a prepping issue with the sugar, with me not putting enough, or it may simply have just been, as I stated, the volume of the containers being too small. Regardless, after the project is over, it's clear that there was some crystal growth on all of them. While the red ones certainly experienced less crystal growth, there was still a fair amount on each. Next, I'll discuss the scientific side of this rock candy growth. Getting into the scientific side of this project, there were 2 questions posed on the Flipgrid. Number 1, what type of a solution did you create? Well, here we created a supersaturated homogeneous solution. The homogeneous part comes from the fact that this solution, being sugar and water, cannot be separated through means of filtration, and also does not scatter light when passed through it via the Tyndall effect. The supersaturated part comes from the fact that we used heat to heat the solution to a point where we could add more solute into the solvent and then cool it down and retain that excess solute. Now, question number 2 is what outside factors could have affected the solubility in this lab? Well, the most obvious one to me is the fact that we weren't using pure H2O, but instead tap water, which contains a number of vitamins and minerals, which could have affected the solubility of the sugar and water. Thank you for watching this project. It was definitely a lot of fun to do, and I've really enjoyed the results.